Hi, I'm Steve Arterburn, and welcome to our second session of Walking into Walls. Today we cover the phantom walls that stop us. You know, one of the things that my family and I like to do the most is watch America's Funniest Home Videos. Now, that may seem like a little immature to some people, but we love to laugh. And one of the funniest pieces of video is a picture of a dog in front of a screen door, but there's no screen in the door. And no matter what the master does, he can walk through this frame with no screen. He can shut it. He can do anything, but the dog will not go through that frame of a door until it's open, even though there's nothing there. It's a phantom screen door. You know, there's a zoo where they had some leopards in a very large cage. And they decided, of course, that this was unhealthy, and they wanted to build one of these big areas where the cats could roam free. So with the cats there, they built this beautiful area for them with a moat in front so no cats could get out. And it came the day for their freedom, and they sawed off the different posts on the cage. They lifted it up, and they watched these cats who could roam anywhere they wanted to in their new habitat. They watched them pace back and forth right on that concrete slab that they had been used to. There were no cages, no walls, no bars, nothing, and yet there was a phantom wall that kept them right where they'd always been. Well, that happens to us too. We self-construct these phantom walls full of half-truths and false beliefs. And, you know, we kind of project onto other people the very thing that keeps us locked in. There's a saying in one of the 12-step groups, if you spot it, you got it. Well, it's easy for us to see what other people are doing wrong, but most of the time, it is in some way a version of the exact same thing that we are doing. Well, one of the things that I've seen really hurts people the most is personalizing something that happened very young when it wasn't personal at all. For instance, I'm talking about, let's say, adoption. A person can go through life saying, I can't believe that my mother rejected me and gave me up for adoption. Well, that really isn't true. Your mother didn't really give you up for adoption. Your mother didn't know who you were going to become. She didn't know you as a human being. You were a concept of a child. And when she gave you up, she wasn't rejecting you, the person. She was simply rejecting the concept of being able to raise a child, and she wanted you to have a better opportunity. So it wasn't personal. I think one of the best examples of this is many people remember the Central Park jogger who was out jogging and then was attacked by some young men and beaten to a pulp. In fact, in the emergency room, the doctor said to her parents, it would probably be best if we just let her die. She is in such horrible shape. Well, she didn't die. She recovered, and now she's out speaking to other people. And what she's sharing with them is the fact that it wasn't personal, that it was a random act of violence. She happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. She didn't spend the rest of her life wondering why God had let it happen or had he caused it to happen. She simply spends her time now asking, how can I help other people discover that many of the tragedies that we suffer from aren't personal? So I think one of these horrible phantom walls is to personalize every horrible negative thing. And what that does, it keeps us locked into ourselves. It keeps us focused only on who we are and what we've been through and our struggles and pain, when in reality, God has something very different for us. Galatians 5:13 says, For you have been called to live in freedom, my brothers and sisters, but don't use your freedom to satisfy your sinful nature. Instead, use your freedom to serve one another in love. If there is something in your life that has occurred that's preventing you from serving others, that wall, that needs to be torn down. That issue needs to be resolved. And it might be resolved by taking the personalization out of the event that occurred.